Hello everyone. Welcome back to GeoGuessr Explained. I'm going to be taking you guys through some seeds very quickly today. Don't have too much time, but I want to keep it daily, so let's get into things here and see how we're going. No moving first on Arbitrary World. Let's see what we can do. Okay, that was 10 seconds, and I was going to turn the country streak script on, actually. So let's go for that, and make a new link, because that is a 10-second link, so thank you very much. Okay, there we go. Getting into things here, no editing, but you already know what's going on. So let's see what metas we got going on today, shall we? First one here, immediately difficult. Taking a look around, we have the short antenna here, so that is indicative of Europe. With the short antenna, where else can you be? You can be in like Eastern Russia as well sometimes. Short antenna outside of Europe, though. I mean, Canaries. Generally speaking, if you have the antenna outside of Europe in the Gen 3 coverage like this, it's going to be like Taiwan, Australia, Israel, but they're all going to have the long antenna instead of short, generally speaking. I guess Israel can have some short antenna potentially. Anyway, this is a difficult round for sure. We've got like a bunch of rock walls in the background, I'm noticing. We've got this like what do you call this kind of pine? I forget. But it is a kind of pine which I associate with certain areas around the Mediterranean. We've got a stone house here. We've got metal poles on the hill. Metal poles, very common in Turkey, very common in Spain. Not too common around Europe, to be honest, but they definitely happen. And yeah, that's kind of it. So my idea here was that this is somewhere in Spain. This kind of pine is very common in eastern Spain, and the whole thing kind of has an island vibe, a bit of red soil that really reminds me of Spain. This architecture, not really feeling too Croatian, which I feel like would be a very valid wrong guess here. You'd probably see like shutters in the windows, and it would probably just like have a different shape to the house, I would think. But where in Spain is a bit more difficult. I thought maybe Menorca or Ibiza, but it could just be near Valencia as well. I might hedge at Ibiza here, and it was just yeah, in the eastern part of Spain, but definitely good for getting that kind of area. I mean, the landscape was a bit too vast probably to be one of these small islands, but I wanted to give it a go. Okay, next one here. Round pole, rice fields. Can you also notice here that the road is a little bit more elevated than the rice fields? That is very common in this country. Tin roof on the house, very common in this country, super common in this country. More concrete poles, round poles, and yeah, we're not really actually left with anything too specific here for the country, but it is actually very easy if you know what to look for. Number one, rice fields, very common. Number two, a lot of bamboo, a lot of palms mixed in. And number three, the way this guy's dressed. Number four, this tuk-tuk. It actually has the language here, which is Bengali on the back. And yeah, this is going to be Bangladesh. 2022 copyright here. If you see a 2022 copyright, then you're only going to be in the center of the country. Mimyan Singh, Dhaka, and then Chittagong as well. So it's just like this kind of central part here, which is very useful. And yeah, I guess with more palms, I'm leaning a bit further south here, maybe like towards here. But yeah, Bangladesh, pretty straightforward country, generally speaking. Doesn't have too many difficult routes. You can normally at least find some Bengali or a road raised off the ground like this, and it's also very like polluted feeling. Like the air quality, you can tell it's not that good from the sky a lot of the time. This is not the best example, but yeah. Okay, that's near Dakar there. Next one here, blue front of the car here. Generation 4 coverage, very red soil. We've got a shaggy palm, which I mentioned in the previous episode. A lot of bamboo. That is confusing me a little bit. This much bamboo? I don't blame you if you go Asia based on that, but yeah, it's not going to be Asia. The soil this red, you should immediately consider Brazil first. Blue car is also very common in Brazil. Blue car does not occur in Colombia yet, nor Peru, so that's a good way of ruling those two out here. Sun. I would definitely check sun on this one, just in case. Sun is south. Maybe even in a pro game, I would check sun here, just to make sure. Sun is south, so we know that... Wait. Sun... Okay, sun is lying here. Because I'm pretty... Well, sun... Like, it's also very bright this way. That actually could be the sun here, and this could just be a glare. I don't even know. I think it's a cloud being hit by the sun. Because I do think this is Brazil, so we should be Southern Hemisphere. What? Where in Brazil, though? 2024 coverage. I think it's more south than you would think. I think this little tree, this pale tree over here, looks southern to me. And the amount of bamboo should also be south. And these palms, as we said, they're the ones that kind of radiate out from Mato Grosso do Sul. So I think this is actually quite a bit further south than you'd think. Maybe Mato Grosso at the furthest north, but also maybe just down like Goiás, something like that. I don't know. It is very sus though. Anyway, it could actually be Minas Gerais based on this tree here. I don't know. I'm gonna hedge. I'm gonna do a huge hedge. It's not gonna be here, but it's somewhere in the vicinity, and it's actually Misiones, Argentina. That's fascinating round. It makes sense, but I just was not prepared. I mean, it's very hilly for Misiones. I think a lot of people get that, honestly. Now that I see it back, and it did have those south vibes, it makes sense. I guess Misiones often has this blue car, but it's surrounding Brazil also has it, so difficult. Next one here, Generation 4, and we have the white car on a concrete road. So with the white car on a concrete road, you should be considering double concrete road like this. You should be considering Philippines, Thailand, because we can see this is the front of the car and it's driving right, then Philippines. Tons of coconut palms, leans you further south, but can be anywhere. And can we get anything else here? Maybe not. Philippines is a very difficult country. You don't really get too many clues a lot of the time. The architecture here is going to be the biggest help, but even still, it's pretty unclear. We actually don't get any, like, regional style architecture here at all, I think. We do maybe have a tuk-tuk there with a flat roof. So that would be more common in the south. Like, separated roofs are more common north. Flat roofs and tuk-tuks in general, like a traditional tuk-tuk like that one, which we can just see in the background, would be more south. So I do think this is south. Later, probably more likely Mindanao. 2022 copyright's very common on Mindanao, and this one's 2024, so it's not going to help us. But let's give this a go, and it was later, okay? And the last one here, we're going to be in Southeast Asia again. You can pretty much vibe that off the houses, but we got these clear satellite dishes, which are the Malay Indonesian style ones. We've got tin roofs on all the houses, so Java would normally do tiles, so we're probably outside of Java here. And we have this pole top, which is straight metal pole with 2 supports, most common in West Kalimantan and North Maluku Island, but also possible in various places in Sumatra and maybe even Sulawesi. So it's a useful pole without being too useful. And I would suggest... that this is most likely to just be West Kalimantan. Would I? It could definitely be Sumatra, is my concern here. That's an interesting round. I'm just going to go for it here in the interest of time, though. And it was West Kalimantan. Definitely, architecture was not all the way there perfect, but that's definitely a vibes thing, which you just have to build up over time anyway. So definitely Southeast Asian theme to that seed, but kind of disappointing that I missed out on that Arge, to be fair. Anyway, let's head through to the NMPZ now, which is also, of course, the best part of the day. And let's see how we go. Okay, straight into things here. Double concrete road again. We're going to check for that. Okay, we can't check. We can't turn it around. But double concrete road immediately leaning Thailand or Philippines. If we were in Thailand, and this is generation 4, we would see the front of the car if we were driving left, but we don't. So I'm thinking that this is Philippines for that reason. This kind of low, super vibrant green vegetation is more Filipino, though the red soil is more Thailand. So you're going to have to kind of go between the 50-50 here. This ditch on the side of the road really reminds me more of Philippines as well. And in general, this road is more common in the Philippines. It's red soil is kind of common. I would say like Panay, Negros, Cebu, that kind of area probably has the most red soil, but you can see it around. It's not so helpful. I'm going to go in Cebu here. And it was actually Mindoro, another place that has red soil. Actually, Palawan has a lot of red soil as well. Definitely gettable Mindoro, but honestly, I'm happy with the guess. For NMPZ at least. Okay, next one here. Very useful tip. So we actually get a few things here. Yellow outer lines. It's going to tell us that either Middle East or Southern Africa. We got wooden poles. We got wooden posts on the guardrail here. That's something they love to do in Southern Africa. Lesotho, South Africa, probably Eswatini as well, I would say. And we also have this kind of triangular pole top here. If you see like a proper triangle made with the pole top, then you should be normally in Western Cape, which is this province, or this, what do they call them, state here, which goes from here to here. And yeah, it feels very dry, so we're probably north of the mountains. If we were south of the mountains, we'd see like some more vegetation. South-southwest, maybe a road like this, kind of nearby a hill. Could buy it. I don't know. It's somewhere like this. Anyway. Or maybe this road here could make some sense. Yeah, I don't know. Somewhere in Western Cape. Regardless. I'm not quite sure where. Yeah, that's just all we have to say about this round. That's really good meta, that one. It shows up quite a lot in Western Cape. And it was this north road. Whoops. Okay, next one here. Immediate country giveaway here is this fence, which is extremely spammed fence here. So the spammed fence is most common on North Island, New Zealand, and I feel like you can probably also see it in the British Isles as well. So careful for that. But if we can see the sun here, that would be very useful. Apart from that, we can see this red brake light car here. You can see the red is pretty big inside the blur. And that will be not found in Europe, that one, basically. Yeah, nowhere in Europe. So if you see, well, there's a similar car. Okay, so many times there's caveats to these things. But the proper red brake light is not found in Europe. And yeah, it's very common in New Zealand, I suppose. I'm actually not too sure. But yeah, this fence, pretty much all you need anyway, I would say. Concrete pole in the background there, definitely looks New Zealandy. This kind of salt and pepper road, very common in this part of the North Island, I would say, but this could also be Hamilton, maybe, if that's a Trident pole. No, it was nearby that. Nice guess. Next one here. We can see a bit of the Google car here. We've got these square concrete poles that are painted black at the bottom. 2024 copyright. So 2024 copyright's going to be pretty rare in Russia. Obviously, this looks like Russia, so that would be a good way to probably discount the likelihood of Russia. Then we've also got a bit of the Google car picking out here, which would really help the newer players because that is the Kazakhstan car that you can also see in a bunch of other countries. But with this Soviet architecture, the only country you should consider with the big, massive white car is Kazakhstan. And then we've got these kind of like aqua roofs, which are also really Kazakhstan, I would say. And we've got a bit of niche meta here. We've got this yellow box. The yellow box is found in Turkestan, in Shymkent, and in Konaev, or is it Taldi Korgan? I think it's Taldi Korgan, the other city that has it. Now, Taldi Korgan is in winter coverage, so we're probably considering just Turkestan and Shymkent here. And of the two, I'm not too sure. But that's a pretty niche meta, if you can remember it. It does show up quite a lot, because these are some of the biggest cities that are covered. I'm going to go in Turkestan here. And it was Atirau, which is, I guess, another city where you can occasionally see it. This yellow box. Let's go over and have a look at it here. Yeah. I do recall it being there a few times, but that's pretty difficult. I would say a bit baity there. Because normally the yellow boxes don't lie. Especially if you see multiple of them, they shouldn't lie. It should just be those three cities I mentioned, but Atirau does make sense. Next one here, we've got the Tunisia follow car. Very straightforward one. We can probably just go straight forward through this one. It's got the red bit on the number plate. It's a Mazda. If you see this one, you're going to be south of Hammamet, right down to Jerba. That's kind of the range of this follow car. We've got the visor up. Not really sure. It feels like a bigger city, and it doesn't feel too far south. I think it's Sus, Monastir, or Sfax here. And of the three, maybe more of a Monastir vibe here. North-northwest, is that a decent angle for Monastir? Not the best. Sus, also not the best. Maybe Sfax is actually better here. North-northwest does seem pretty common in Sfax. I'm going to go Sfax instead, actually. And it was just Sus. Well, can't win them all. So there we go, 20,000 points, not the greatest score there, but hope you learned something regardless, and I'll see you guys in a video soon. So, till next time, and goodbye.